my brother, up and Adam's family member, 3-time Pro Bowler, Tennessee Titans tackle legend. He brings you the best on Bustin' with the Boys. My producers are telling me now a Ravens fan. What?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I go where the king goes, Kay. Like you draw a line in the sand with your alliances. Derek and Ben Jones were two guys that were teammates of mine for the longest I've ever had teammates, 7 years. So Ben, he's just a family man now, and Derek's still riding high. So I'm flocking for a while here.
Yeah, you're flocking. You're flocking for the time being, which we love to see. Taylor Lewan, you're with us. Another one bites the dust. Another one, like a legend, a great, hanging it up, and Aaron Donald. He makes the announcement. You two were in the same draft class. You two were taking 2 picks before him, humble brag. You lined up against him just once. No sacks allowed from him, though, which is amazing. What do you make of this, and do you have an Aaron Donald moment that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't ever a time when Aaron and I got into it on the field or anything like that, playing against him one time. And to say that I never gave up a sack to him is kind of, he was a 3 technique for the most part and then came on the outside every once in a while. But, okay, you better believe, like, going into the week playing the Rams, and every team will attest to this, it's, hey, block 99 or lose this game and maybe lose your quarterback for the season. The guy is truly like a generational talent, arguably the greatest defensive tackle of all time. He really is that guy. And so, I think not only I know the Rams put up a nice little photo of quarterbacks rejoice, but obviously offensive linemen are also rejoicing, knowing that man is no longer terrorizing their nightmares before games.
How excited were you that you didn't end up being drafted to an NFC team?
I mean, at the time, the only team I didn't want to go to was Detroit, because I spent 4 years in Michigan and I was ready for a little bit of change. But I think it's also those 12 teams that picked and did not take Aaron Donald. They need to all reevaluate everything they're doing. We all should have been picked after Aaron Donald, all of us.
That's such a good take. You're an idiot. I think it's great. You were taking 2 picks before him. I think it's aged great.
I know, 11 years. You pick 11, 9 years, solid, right? Solid career, but not a first ballot Hall of Fame, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Super Bowl champion, 4th and 1, game in the line against the Bengals, and gets to Joe Burrow. That wasn't my career, baby. The Titans, you guys messed up a little bit not taking him.
No, it all happened how it was supposed to. You were such a good face for the Titans. You embodied their soul, the city of Nashville, the whole thing. And we've talked about how we've been liking some of these offseason moves your old squad has made so far. And that was before Calvin Ridley got there, which is amazing. Is this Tennessee team trying to sort of right the wrongs of not giving A.J. Brown that type of contract? What do you make of the Calvin Ridley signing?
I saw a lot of things about, Calvin Ridley and A.J. Brown, and A.J. was younger and he only wanted a few $1 million more. It's a different regime. It's a different GM. It's a different head coach. So it's really hard to compare and contrast those two things. But, to have Calvin Ridley is incredible and a huge boost. Him and DeAndre Hopkins being there, and then obviously adding Pollard. But the Titans, going into the free agency, they've covered up a lot of holes. They've taken care of a lot of potholes in their team, but they've lost some defensive linemen. They also have a lot of holes to fix on the offensive line. The defense, you don't know how that's going to look this year. So they still got work to do, which I'm sure they'll do in the draft as well.
What do you make of the faith in Will Levis with all of these additions they've made, Pollard and company, bringing these guys in, paying them, surrounding him? It's what every team asks every fan base asks of their team, surround our quarterback with talent.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting parallel to what you saw with the Bengals, right? Joe Burrow was sacked the most out of any other quarterback for the one season, and then all of a sudden they're like, they need to take a tackle. It's like, you know what, we're going to take a wide receiver instead. And so now they're putting wide receivers around him. I believe at 7 you have to take a guy like Joe Alt, get him at the left tackle position, then fill up a couple other holes through free agency and trades possibly, and then you got yourself a team. I think Will Levis, they do say the sophomore slump's a real thing, but I just feel like that guy's got a weird amount of confidence for how young he is, and he's going to thrive.
So Fields gets dealt to Pittsburgh. You just heard me talking about it. Is this Russell's job?
No. Russell is getting paid $40 million this year, and the Broncos are paying it. Russell's getting paid $1.9 million, and they just traded for a first-round talent for a 6th-round pick. So I think it's smart the Steelers come in and say, hey, this is Russell's job. We're going to give it to him. I did hear y'all talking before during the break about how they probably promised him he's going to be the starting quarterback and all that. Listen, unless it's in writing, nothing counts in the NFL. The handshake deals do not work in the NFL. So I believe I bet 4 days into camp, we're going to see, we don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be. We'll see. Hey, have you seen Justin Fields? though. But it's like, this is such a win for the Steelers. It's going to help them so much because you have a first round talent and a quarterback that's won a Super Bowl and has had massive success in the league other than the last couple of years. So these two guys with chips on their shoulders are only going to make each other better through competition.
Knowing Arthur as well as you know Arthur, if you had to place a wager, friendly wager on who is the better fit, who might day 4 of camp, day 12 of camp be in the lead, who do you like?
I think they're similar, right? They're both mobile. Obviously, Fields is a little more mobile now, a lot more mobile now than Russell. But I think the safe, conservative thing to do is go with Russell in the beginning. And then that leash is going to be short. 3-4 weeks in, and you might see a 2019 like the Titans with Marcus Mariota and Ryan Tannehill, where all of a sudden, halfway through a blowout, Fields gets put in and he never looks back.
Fields.
So I think
it's Fields. There's I'm trying to think of like the argument for. I mean, you even saw like Arthur. What did Arthur love using? Tannehill's athleticism, his legs. That is Fields all the way.
Yeah, it is. But I think when you go from a head coaching job with the Falcons, it doesn't go the way you want. You get into become the OC. You're not making those calls anymore. It's going to be Tomlin's call. Older guy who lets his vets do their thing.
Yeah.
Russell will have the reins going into this season, I believe. But I believe the leash will be short. And I think it's going to be a huge win for the Steelers overall through this thing because they're going to get the most out of both of those guys.
Fields has dealt with it, and so has Russell. Does Russell have it right now to be in a quarterback competition? Will he rise above, or will he I don't know. It'll be fascinating to watch. I think he does. I think he's got what it takes to say sit down, young cat, this is my gig. I hope.
I don't know how Russell operates. I know guys go about it differently. Some dudes like to mentor other guys. Some guys like, hey, we're both fighting for a job. I'm not going to teach you the ways that I've allowed myself to play for 12 years in the NFL. So that'll be interesting to see the parallels that all the beat writers and stuff like that will be clinging on to during camp and OTAs.
Russell's never dealt with this.
No.
I guess Justin hasn't really either. It's been him until I don't know. It'll be fascinating. What does it mean for Caleb Williams? Where are you in your Caleb Williams journey? Right.
So obviously the guy's got an incredible amount of talent. I'm not the best at evaluating quarterbacks, but you see he's got arm talent. He's accurate. He can move around very well. He's a dual threat quarterback. I didn't like his combine experience from the clips that I saw. I didn't like how he was, this is me, this is who I am. I'm not going to do anything except for get free gear and something about eating candies on the side and talking about how he likes sour candy. Now, you go and he's got the talent. He goes into pro day. I don't think it matters who's there or him throwing the rock around or him listening to music. If he's going to be him, you need to be you. But it's also to me, I got a sense of me guy with Caleb Williams. And I could be completely off. I don't know the guy at all. But I got that vibe from him watching his combine experience and the way he was answering questions, the way he felt a little more full of himself than a rookie usually seems. And I think there's a nice balance of being who you are and acting your personality while also giving respect to the game. And I think that there's a little bit lost in translation there between being authentically yourself and then obviously respecting the NFL.
I think to me, all successful quarterbacks have a little of what you're saying in them. Is it just too much before he's shown it on the NFL level maybe? Or there's this weird vibe around Caleb. I have to meet him, I feel like. But that confidence, I like that confidence.
Yeah, you want that confidence. You absolutely want that. But there's guys like Tannehill, for instance. He's a confident guy, but he doesn't say a damn word. He's as vanilla as it comes when it comes to speaking in the media and just kind of following the bouncing ball. But when he gets into a competitive situation, he's going off. Then there's Baker Mayfield, right? Gets picked. He's doing the Brett Favre thing. It didn't work out until this past year when he had to do prove it.
Yeah.
And now he gets a $100 million deal. I think a lot of times you see quarterbacks playing more of a conservative role because they are the head of the monster that they're trying to be for the franchise. It's very difficult when you have more of a mouthy guy who's going to say a lot of things, who's not going to care about the bulletin board material that doesn't only affect him, but it trickles down to offensive linemen who are blocking for him, running backs, receivers, the rest of the team. So you have a massive responsibility being a quarterback, the most important position in the entire NFL.
I've always been a fan of undersell, over deliver, right? Because it's basically what you're saying is that what the Tannehills do, that's protection. That's just protective mode. That is, I'm not going to talk because I know that it'll be scrutinized and twisted and used against me. But do you think is he a lock to the Bears at 1?
It seems that way, doesn't it? I mean, he is been forever since like since last offseason. People have been saying this is the guy. He's going to be the number one pick to whoever.
Sam Darnold is the guy, you know?
I know. I think he'll go 1 overall. I worry about the Bears and the situation he's going to walk into. We saw the way Justin Fields, people like to blame Fields or blame the Bears. It's a little column A, column B as far as why that whole situation didn't work out. And I just hope that the Bears have maybe learned from the things they could have done better. So when they bring a guy in like Caleb, 1 overall, you need to know, hey, you got to put a lot of pieces around a pick that you want to run your franchise for the next 10 to 15 years. So there's a lot on the Bears right now as far as whoever they're going to pick. And if it is Caleb, it's Caleb. They need to make sure they have the resources around and make sure he's successful.
But okay, but like Caleb would be walking, or whoever it is, would be walking into a much better situation than Justin Fields, right? I'm like in on the Bears bringing in Keenan and having DJ Moore there and making some of these upgrades that they've made. I think if you're it's not very often that a number 1 overall pick walks into a situation and it's like, oh, this isn't the worst. This isn't the worst vibe in this offensive room. This is pretty nice.
Yeah, there's more talent around him than before, but coaching comes into it too. You have to sit the guy down. You have to help develop him, put him in the film room and all that. You can have all the stars. Keenan Allen's a huge addition. Obviously, Moore being in a trade last year is great. But if you're not going to get guys in the film room and help them slow down the process of how fast the NFL is, it doesn't matter who's out there trying to catch balls for you.
Lot on Shane Waldron. That's what I'll say. Okay, your guy Vrabel. Okay, got to celebrate this. He got a gig. Surprising offseason for him. Weird business. Not, it's musical chairs. He's going to be a coaching and personnel consultant with the Browns. Congrats to him. How do you feel about how just this went for him? It's sort of, we want to celebrate it. Of course, he's going to kick ass at it. But sort of shocking and stunning how this turned out.
Yeah, I don't even really know what the title means, like consultant and player personnel. I don't fully understand it. I think Mike Vrabel should be a head coach in the NFL. So I'll just go with I don't like it. I think, Vrabel could have done a whole lot of other things, but if he wants to go back to Cleveland, go back to Ohio, where he can relive the glory days in that state and all that, that's great. But it's not my favorite because I do believe he deserves a head coaching job in the NFL. So I think it is beneath Mike Vrabel. It's
beneath Mike Vrabel. Okay. Well, we're hoping if you had to guess, he'll be a head coach in the NFL again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mike as far as Mike getting his players to understand the game and all the strategy that goes in the game and all the situational awareness. I had 3 different head coaches in the NFL, and he was above and beyond the other 2. And I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but you hear about guys like Mike Tomlin, who does an amazing job doing that. And I just think Vrabel has a wealth of knowledge and able to motivate players, and I think he should absolutely be a head coach in the NFL eventually.
We've got Michigan man Blake Corum on the show tomorrow, Taylor. Do you want, what does mean?
Blake Corum is like, the Michigan's got this cheesy thing they say, where you're a graduate, you're a Michigan man. You just emulate all these things that make you just the greatest human being of all time. Blake Corum is a true Michigan man. He's got the attitude. He's got the swag. The way he approaches the game, he can stop on a dime. His talent is incredible, but this dude is he is one of a kind, man. He's one of a kind. He has the most touchdowns in Michigan history, which is the winningest program in college football history, which is one of the most dominant programs in all of college football. And he is the most touchdowns of any player there. He is going, wherever he goes, he's going to be successful.
Do you want to give a little manifestation of where you'd like to see him go? Is there a team that you think would suit his services as a Michigan man?
I don't know. What the Chargers got going on?
You tell me. Listen, you came on my show and you said Jim Harbaugh's going to turn this team around. Actually, Marissa looked it up and you said, what did you say? Where is it? Oh, you said that Harbaugh was going to get the Chargers in the playoffs within 3 years.
Yeah, and I think they're going to win a Super Bowl.
Okay, well, they cut Mike Williams,
actually.
They traded Keenan Allen, they got to rework Bosa just to squeak under the cap. You still saying that?
Here's what I have to say about Mike Vrabel, and this is a story told by our Delaney Walker. When Delaney Walker was at the San Francisco 49ers, and Harbaugh was hired. He walked in the meeting room and he said, all your traditions are done because you guys are losers. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut the grass so we can find the snakes. And that's what Harbaugh is doing. I'm not saying Mike Williams is a snake. I'm not saying Keenan Allen is a snake. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this man is walking in, doing his thing. It's going to take a year, maybe a year and a half, but then he's going to have them boys rolling like crazy.
Maybe Blake Corum should go there.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Corum to the Chargers. All right, Taylor, we're going to let you go. This is great stuff. I still can't tell. Are you in? Are you in on Caleb? We're gonna do heat checks here. Are you in or out? Like last week you were kind of negative. This week you're a little out of the negativity. Where are we in where are we?
I wouldn't say I'm in or I'm out. I'm just cautious. I'm cautious about this man.
The most Taylor Lewan answer on Up and Adam's show
I'm not
ever.
gonna listen. I hope he proves me wrong because he does have that kind of me vibe to him that I'm just not a huge fan of right now. Now he goes in, keeps the same attitude, and starts balling out. Then I love being wrong about that. Go Bears.
We gotta get him on the bus. Bussin' with the boys, guys. Check out new episodes wherever you find your podcast. Go subscribe and support. Not that he needs it. He's crushing it. Him and Compton and my boy JP. Of course.
Let's go. JP will love you said that.
We got
JP, she gave you some
Fist
love.
on the show.